Alrighty. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Stream is starting just now. Usually the first 5 or 10 seconds or so, it starts connecting to everything, but I think we're good to go, yes. Good evening. This is Francisco, along with my friend
Andrew.
And this is Sports Goofs number 21.
We are officially allowed to drink.
Yes. And Charles will be with us in a second, just having some technical difficulties on his end, but don't worry, we'll catch up with him soon. We've got a lot of topics on for tonight, including a big thing that we're actually watching on screen right now, which is the final home game for Dwayne Wade as a member of the Miami Heat and, well, his career in general. It's going to be a very momentous occasion, a very sad occasion for a lot of people, and well, for me, there's a lot of emotions going through this one.
I don't really have a horse in this race, as it were. As I said a lot on this podcast, I'm not really a big NBA fan, but I know that Francisco is. I know that Charles is. Are the unicorn of the crew, that is Doug, who never shows up. He's a huge fan, all of them, of Miami Heat, so I know that this is a very big moment for them. So I'm really going to let them take it away on this one because, ooh, he looks nice. Sorry, we have the broadcast on in the background. Dwayne is dressed in an all red suit. Looks very interesting, quite nice actually.
And joining us is Charles. Welcome, Charles.
Hello, everybody.
I'm assuming you are keeping watch of the Dwayne Wade final home game in Miami.
Yes, I've been listening to the sports radio all day. 790th Ticket, give them a shout out for all their different segments and broadcasters, and it's kind of kept me in the loop for, the eulogy that's going to be prepared by every Miami Heat fan, knowing this is Wade's last dance in this ballroom, because I don't think we're getting playoffs. I understand the idea of being an optimist, but enjoy it for what it is, not for what you want it to be, right?
Right. So I am just I'm very melancholy today. This morning, just the fact that I woke up today. I brought my Miami Floridians Dwayne Wade jersey in white with the orange and pink. It's actually hanging next to us right now in the office as we're doing the show. And I walked in with it like a flag, like a banner, like that's just really my allegiance to Dwayne Wade. I think just to start, one of the questions that I think Ethan Skolnick had on the 5 Reasons Sports Network Twitter page was, what does Dwayne Wade mean to you? And he had a story of his interaction with Dwayne Wade that meant a lot to him as a reporter. That was a bit personal for him. And for me, well, Dwayne Wade is actually the person who actually got me back into basketball. And it was that 2004 playoff run where the Heat faced off against the New Orleans Hornets versus Baron Davis and his crew. And that Miami Heat team started off the season like 0-7 and was slated to be a very terrible team. Now, the season prior to that, they were awful, which allowed them to get the number 5 pick in that very, very talented 2003 NBA draft, one of the more legendary drafts in league history, where LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade all got drafted. And Darko Milicic, if anybody remembers him. But Dwayne Wade's, that playoff run, when the Heat started putting it all together, that squad with Lamar Odom and Brian Grant and Caron Butler, Rafer Alston and Dwayne Wade, those guys got me, and Eddie Jones, those guys got me back into basketball. And Dwayne Wade's effort against the Hornets when he crossed up Baron Davis, winning game-winning shots against the Hornets, and even the series after that, even though they were still heavy underdogs, they took the Indiana Pacers, who at that point were a championship contender. They took them to 6 games, and it may have been able to try and get a 7th game if things had gone their way, but. That's when you knew Dwayne Wade was special. That's what enticed Shaquille O'Neal to come here. That's what sparked this entire whole run. And Dwayne Wade got me back into basketball from a personal standpoint. It's just I'm into basketball because of that man. I care about the Miami Heat because of that man. They got me through a lot of emotional times, a lot of down times, and he was the guy that was always the fix, the constant there, except for the unfortunate event of him going to Chicago because of a kind of a pissing contest with Pat Riley in 2016. But it all was right in the end, and I think I don't know if it was Alex Donald or somebody had said that someone I think it might have been Eric Reed or somebody, the Heat's broadcaster, but someone thanked the Cleveland Cavaliers for even allowing the Heat to get him back for a moment like this. And we didn't even know if he was going to come back for this season, but I'm glad he did, because I got to see him one more time, most recently against the Mavericks, and he helped win us that game, and I'm glad I got to see that one last time myself in person. And I'm very grateful for all the athletes that we've had come by down here, from Yager to Ichiro to Jason Taylor, all these guys that I've seen in person, all these guys that have passed through. But Dwayne Wade is on his own level. Like, he is on the South Florida sports Mount Rushmore. I think he's meant more here than Dan Marino, because Dan Marino was I guess someone that maybe have been large. Like, it feels like Dwayne Wade was a more personable individual, and you feel like if you'd see him on the street, he'd stop and give you a handshake and have a little conversation with you. Like, he's that type of guy, I guess, that Midwest type of mentality of being a very friendly human being. And I don't know if anybody saw that Budweiser commercial that popped out of Dwayne Wade and talking to 5 people and doing kind of like a jersey exchange with them. But it's a really emotional one. You got to see it. So, all right. I've been talking for a while. So, any guys' thoughts?
I'll more stake in this than I do.
Yeah, and here's the thing. You mentioned something that was interesting, Francis, when you said that Dwayne Wade brought more to the table to South Florida than Dan Marino did, and I would actually agree with you, because here's the thing. Dan Marino was the superstar on the Dolphins, bringing everything in, but Dwayne Wade was kind of like the secret executive. Sometimes like Pat Riley was bringing stuff, but you got to think Dwayne Wade is responsible because of his talents, his selfishness, selflessness that he has, that he was able to bring not one, not two, but arguably 3 Hall of Famers to Miami for title runs. He brought in LeBron because they had a good relationship coming into the game. And when LeBron was thinking about leaving Cleveland, he brought in Shaq. Shaq brought himself, but, he could have gone anywhere at that time in 05 and 06. I know contracts and everything, but, NBA superstars get traded all the time. Shaq could land elsewhere, but it was enticed by this kid who played out in Marquette in the Flash, right? And then he brought in Ray Allen. Ray brought in his own politics, obviously, to leave Boston. I like Chris Bosh, but I'll leave that Hall of Fame debate out there for a different day on a different time. But, he brought these 3 surefire Hall of Fame candidates and enshrinees. And created a representation of Heat culture. You hear that a lot on the radios, but a winning mentality that went above and beyond. You got to think that his play, he said, all right, I know, because he was a league scoring champion. He said, you know what? I know I can drop 25, 26 points a game. I'm not as much injured as I will be in the future or as I was in the past, but I'm going to let LeBron do his thing. I'm going to let Bosch get some love. I'm going to let Ray get some shots in. He gave up money. The guy should have been paid so much money in the past, but he said, you know what? These guys are an integral part for us to succeed, for us to make it, for our legacies to be cemented. It led to equivalent disputes, but I think about two things when I think of Dwayne Wade. Obviously, his elevation of play in the finals against the Mavericks the first time around. Mind you, it's many, many years ago, so emotions are different when you're 16, 17 years old, but you get excited, right? But then I remember hearing about a year ago on the radio, listening to Dan Le Batard's show, about the Miami Heat have traded such and such lottery pick to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Dwayne Wade. And it was, you don't get those kind of storybook endings when you have a bitter rivalry, and the fact that it was able to continue. You're not going to make the playoffs this year, assumingly, but you know what you get to do? You get to go on your own terms, being the best player at 36, 37 on a team, above and beyond everybody else who's talented on the team. And a thing that I would like to see happen in the final couple of minutes, losing, winning by one, whatever, I want to see him and Udonis, man, one last time on the playing some kind of minutes. I don't care if it's 15 seconds together, because Udonis was really kind of, if Dwayne was the soul, Udonis was the heart, keeping it going. So for me, that would be a nice little, just a wink and a nudge from Spoelstra and everybody else. But Dwayne means a lot, and the problem is that it's a different kind of vacuum, because once he leaves, the outlook, and we talked about this today, Francisco, the outlook for the Miami Heat is very low, limited, concerning. But that's good, though. Isn't that essentially what you want? Doesn't that essentially solidify a superstar? We're not talking about a great player. We're not talking about a guy who makes the All-Star, the All-Pros. We're not talking about and no disrespect to like DeMar DeRozan, but he's not missed by a team that traded him away, right? I just use him as an example. Sorry, DeMar, if you ever listen to our podcast. But you're
I'm sure he is.
And it creates such a vacuum that you're embracing the suck because it's terrible. That means you had something special. You had a superstar walk on in, and he left you feeling like you're at a funeral, and that's kind of how it should be. Granted, can we draft a successor? No, you can't. But that's what it means, that when he's all said and done and he's retired, it's not going to be like that, oh, man, I wish we had this guy back. It's like, yo, we had that, and everything's going to suck afterwards. But we had that. Kyrie brought 3 titles, notoriety to be in the playoffs. They were hated. They were the Heatles. But they were they're good guys to us. Everybody else hated the fact that we were able to use him in so many ways. And we got the happy ending because he went to Chicago and then went to Cleveland. And we felt a little betrayed because you went to the place where you should have gone, and then you came back and you wanted to be back here, and you came back for the final dance for a full season. And you gave it your best shot, So that's where I'm at with it.
It's funny. A lot of people have said this, but a lot of people believe that Dwayne Wade leaving that one time may have actually helped in the end for all of us to appreciate his journey here, his entire career.
Appreciate what you have till it's gone.
Right.
And I know that a lot of Heat fans, I know Francisco was for sure, they were extremely angry with Pat Riley when he more or less shafted Dwayne. Francisco's nodding, he agrees. He pretty much shafted Dwayne Wade. After all he'd done for the city, all he'd done for the team, and he still lowballed him on a contract. More than anything, people were absolutely not angry at Dwayne Wade. They were very angry at Pat Riley. So, like Francisco was alluding to, you don't know what you have till it's gone. And seeing him leave, I'm sure that really kind of made people really appreciate what they had with him. I mean, I keep coming back to this because I thought it was really really good. Back in 2010, Miami-Dade County's commissioners declared for 1 week from July 1st to July 7th that the county would be known as Miami-Wade County. And they did that when free agency began back then. So, I mean, that kind of just tells you what he means to the city, and that was several years before he left for Chicago.
So throughout the show, we're looking at the Dwayne Wade ceremony right now. They're showing the videos, they're showing the previews, they're showing their interviews with his parents right now, and we'll get to all of that. But so we'll be chiming in from here and there with regards to Dwayne Wade's career. So, but we're gonna have to move on from now, but we've already spent 16 minutes on this, and there's a lot we could say about Dwayne Wade and a player of that magnitude retiring, but we'll leave that for another time. So let's try and get to another basketball topic. So yesterday was the final for the men's college basketball championship 2019, and prior to that we had in Minnesota, and then prior to that in Tampa we had the women's championship, which was won by Baylor. But the game yesterday...
Just kind of jump in really quick. That was a close game. I just off of memory, I think that was an 82-81 final.
So it's but yesterday's game was
82-81 over Notre Dame.
Right, and so we've had probably two incredibly great finishes to a very successful and very exciting March Madness. So the NCAA is definitely really happy about that. It's unfortunate none of those people got paid that were playing in it, but that's a whole other topic. We've already talked about it, but let's just talk about the game. And guys, what stuck out to you for the game?
Well, I mean, for me, Francisco and I were discussing this earlier, but this tournament deserved this game. As I was saying, this whole tournament was madness. There were so many one possession games. I mean, as much as it hurts for me to talk about, UCF was centimeters away from beating the number one overall seed Duke. You had maybe a little less than average upsets. You know, you didn't have a 1 losing to a 16 like last year. But there were so many close games. I mean, Virginia, just over their last 3 games, the Elite Eight, Final Four, and the championship, they were down by several points at times with less than 30 seconds remaining, and somehow they still won.